Hello, Bay Area. I am your host, Bilal, in with Spotlight on the Bay, and you are in the spotlight. Ladies, thank you so much for tuning in with us and coming onto the show with Spotlight on the Bay. Of course, you know this, the Spotlight on the Bay is here to give information, education, and entertainment that regards all cultures in our communities. We thank you for giving us this time with you. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for having
And
us.
You're most
yeah, we're
welcome.
very
Okay,
excited.
so I, my first thing, I'm gonna jump right in here. Okay, there were some videos that I had seen that you guys had sent, that your company had sent, and I wanted to get into that. But first, let's just start with both of you. Uh, where are you both from?
I think we'll go first, Sakai.
Oh,
Sakai?
sure. I am a Bay Area girl, um,
Okay.
raised in the Bay in Oakland. Um, I moved to the peninsula for a while, lived in Mountain View, but my home base, my family, my grandparents were in Oakland. So
Ah,
I was there all the time.
Bay
Yes,
Area
so
native,
I'm from the Bay
beautiful.
Area. Yes. Hmm.
And Nikita.
I am a native of Oakland, California, born and raised. I've been yes, youngest of nine children. So yes, I'm a Bay Area girl.
Yes, yes. Well, this is the reason why we wanted to have you guys on the show. You are definite Bay Area natives. What attracted you both to music?
Wow. Well, for me, I grew up listening to music since I was a little girl with the rest of my siblings. It was always music in the house, and um, I just gravitated to it. Watching all the
Right.
greats. Growing up on television, watching them sitting in front of the television. I didn't know then that that's something I wanted to do, but
Right, that's
I
what
just
we do.
knew. Oh, yeah, we just my family always sang in the house all the time. You know.
Okay. See, beautiful. And Sakai.
Those kids who always had a brush in her hand in the mirror, screaming at the top of my lungs, and my mom
I
would be
did
like,
that.
"Girl, if you don't sit down."
Yeah.
And then
Right.
I was blessed. I grew up watching my sister Patrice Banks, who was part of Graham Central Station.
Right.
So, yeah, that's my stepsister. And so as a kid, she was one that I admired immensely. And then listened to a lot of music, gospel. There was that, all the greats. I grew up listening to all the great singers. Natalie Cole was my fave.
Oh my goodness.
And
Okay.
so I gravitated towards, it was just, I think it was just a part of who we are. I'm sure for Keita too, it's just in you. But I knew, like, I don't know, fifth grade, a talent show,
Okay.
people gave me a little standing ovation. I was like, oh, okay, I like this. This is kind of nice. Screaming a Natalie Cole song. But yeah, I was one of those kids who was always singing and, you know, um, doing
That's
talent shows
beautiful.
in the house with my dad and that kind of thing. So
Well,
yeah.
with both of you, it's family oriented.
Join our Spotlight family so you can stay in the know of what's going on in the Bay. We're going to give you information, education, and entertainment that can and will change your life. It's a new day with Spotlight on the Bay.
It's
Yeah.
well, for all of us, most of us who grew up in our neighborhoods, it starts with our parents and then church, and then we get into the school, our first glee club or first choir, right?
Right.
So,
That's
Exactly.
right.
but when you knew, both of you, so when you knew that you were starting to make a headway as a singer, when was that? And what made you catapult into this level where you are now?
Oh, wow. For me, I think I
Yes.
really knew when I was in elementary school. I was in my first talent show. I did a Roberta Flack song, won my
Ah,
first, first place. Then it went to junior high school, won my first
right.
blue ribbon singing a jazz song, and singing Misty, one of my first blue ribbon. Um, and then it went on and on from there. From junior college, it was in a choir called Traveling Voices that was headed by Jackie Harrison. And then from there, did one woman shows,
Huh.
and then I got the bug. I said I wanted to record, so got in the studio and
Right.
heard myself. I heard myself sing in the studio, and it was like, wow, you know, you know, I, I,
I
um,
could do this, huh?
I, yeah, exactly. I learned some new things about my vocals being in working in the studio, and but I always enjoyed singing live. So
Right.
being on stage, and I was never shy. Singing in front of people.
Get
So
out.
because like I said, I grew up doing that at home with my siblings in front of having talent shows in front of my parents.
Right.
Um, but then I just got the bug. And I just wanted more and more and more.
So you know how we okay now at this time in that we're living, we say to ourselves, I really love what I'm doing. I really love the fact that I'm singing. I love the fact that I'm singing about something, something
Mm-hmm.
important, something romantic,
Mm-hmm.
you know, something that talks about family, about neighborhood forgiveness, neighborhood togetherness. So here you are now. We're going to go forward a little bit. Here you are now, recording artist. Um, so how was it when you recorded your first record? When you first got in, you started recording, and you got your first record. Okay, Sakai, what was that like?
So I was, I think, probably around 14 or so,
Okay,
and someone had heard me sing and wanted me to put a demo together. So I think that was
okay,
kind of like my first experience moving into like recording, and it was so fun. It was one of the songs was a song that I wrote, so I got a chance to experiment with layering background vocals
right.
it was such a joy. And so it's a technique that of course now it's like we've learned from the masters like Narda Michael Walden, and so I from there though that was my start. That was the first recording that I did, and it was fun. I think I was 13 or 14. It was really a lot of fun, getting that first bug, like it hit
And
me.
to
I
hear
knew
your
that that
voice
was what
coming
I.
back to you.
Right, right. Yeah. So
Yes.
it was a long time ago, but I knew then that definitely
Right.
Okay,
definitely wanted
Nikita.
to
Okay, you don't have to say the
do that.
time or anything. Okay. Sakai putting
But
it on the
yes,
line, dog. Okay.
it's okay. You know what? We got
Oh,
history. And
Right.
right.
Bilal,
We
I was really
do.
young when we started working together. I was still very young
Yeah.
when you and I
Yeah.
worked with Sal. She was Sal back at the
Yes.
time. You and I, Bilal, we
Yeah.
did a duet. So it's
Hmm.
like embracing that. I was really in my teens when I started doing some professional stuff. Really,
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Beethoven, heard me and
Right.
that kind of thing. So he kind of took me under his wings, and that's when I kind of got into the professional side of things. But
Beautiful.
just doing my very first demo, I was like 13 or 14.
Okay. And Nikita, when did you start
Oh my God. I start
recording?
early 20s. Early
Okay.
20s.
Okay.
With I was with God, I was with the Traveling Voices at the time at Merritt
Ah.
College, and this young lady out of New York that the director Jackie Harrison was friends with
Okay.
was doing needed us vocalists to do a demo for uh, Luther Vandross or something.
Oh
So, and
wow.
they flew me to New York to do this demo. It was a wonderful
Look
experience.
at that.
That was the first time. It was a wonderful experience. I don't know whatever happened to the demo, but just the fact that that was my first time going to New York and recording, and it was just it was just a great experience. And then I Then the second time was with, I could say, with Jim Gardner when I was working on
Oh, with Gardner.
my first,
Yes.
yeah, Jim Gardner, yeah, pajamas.
Yes.
No, it was Live Oak Studios. Yes, yeah, Live
Ah.
Oak Studio. Working with him on my Motown album. Yeah,
Come on.
yeah, yeah, doing demos first, and then I got signed to Motown, and from there,
See.
But before that, before that, I have to say with Narda Michael Walton, doing a lot of work with him. In the
Okay.
studio with Sakai. We did a lot of work with him. With
Oh
Narda.
my. Hello, Bay Area. I am your host Bilal in with Spotlight on the Bay, and you are in the spotlight. Well, now, we all are friends and we've known each other for a long time. Um, but since we haven't seen each other, it's been some couple of years. You guys had started recording as you became La Femme Fatale. When did La Femme Fatale start to have life?
Oh wow. Oh, a while ago. You want to take that? You take that, Sakai.
Yeah, so the concept of Le Femme Fatale um, and Nikita and I getting together and to work with Kevin Darkside Smith, who is our writing partner and producer, um, that was probably about 20 years ago. We had the idea, he had this concept of, these
Right,
fierce ladies, and doing this edgy music, but still soulful and,
right,
underlined with some rock and, and we were just felt we loved it. And we did a lot of writing together. So
right,
we worked on it for a little bit. We did some few shows, which were great, and then life happened. Keita went into
right,
doing her thing. I
right,
did some things. I did some Sakai stuff, and but we never stopped writing over the
right.
years, And of
Beautiful.
course, uh, so that was it. To answer that question, yeah, it developed many years ago. Kevin came up with the concept, and then it just like God's timing is the perfect time, and that's all I can say. It's
Yes.
like we never stopped in terms
Right.
of like what we wanted for it, but we brought it back to life in
So how did
2020.
how did train become part of you guys' arsenal? How did you become a part of that big entity?
So in 2007, I auditioned for Pat Monahan, who's our lead vocalist of
Okay.
Train. Um, I auditioned for him. He was working on a solo
Okay.
tour at the time, and I got the gig, and fell in love with what his music and all that he was doing. We became friends,
Wow.
and I toured with him for like 2 months.
Okay.
And then we kept in touch. And then in 2009, Train was getting back together as a group. And
Okay.
they were working on the Save Me San Francisco album, which is where Hey Soul Sister came from, that album. And
Right.
so he called me and said, I'm going to work on the album. I want you to come in and do some vocals. I need another vocalist. And so I said, sure. I got a good friend of mine, and we sing together all the time. So I brought Keita in on that session in
Right.
2009, and then in 2012 they wanted to add singers to the band for the summer. It was really
How
supposed to
big
be
was
just a
that?
summer gig.
Okay.
Oh
And
yeah.
he called me and he said, "Hey, Sakai, do you think Kev would mind if you come out for the summer and work with us?" And he said, and I always tease him and stuff. I'll say, "Well, let me check in, let me check and see
Right.
how he feels about that, because we had twins. Our babies were still little, at the time."
Okay.
Um, anyway, I and he said he wanted another girl, and I said, well, you remember Nikita? He's like, oh yeah, yes. And I called her, but she was actually getting ready to go on tour with Narda, And he knew what I sounded like, but the other members of the band, he said he
Right.
wanted them to hear us so we could, audition for them. And called Keita, and she said yes. And Keita, you can tell the rest of.
Next week, we will spotlight part 2 of the creation of Bay Area recording artist La Femme Fatale.